Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Sandy Bottom Homestead. Hope your day is going swimmingly well. It is it was a very muggy and hot day in coastal North Carolina, but now we may get a storm. I hear thunder in the background, so you know what that means. Hopefully some of that glorious, glorious rain. But, have you guys ever done a job interview and they ask you, like, where do you want to be in 5 years? Stupid question, right? And I mean, the first thought I always think when I get one of those is like, I'm gonna be owning this bitch. But I mean, seriously, in your garden, where is your 5-year plan? What do you want to do? And when do you start it? Those are like the questions that always swirl in my head, because if you've listened to the Backyard Gardens podcast or you've watched this show, you know I'm really big into planning, and I think it makes all the difference in the world for your garden. Step back and I take a look at the main part of my garden here, and there's not really a lot I want to change. Obviously I want to continue to improve what I'm doing here and growing, but other than that, these main, 7 beds in the greenhouse, they're doing just fine. I don't really have big plans for that, but the rest of the yard and the garden, we definitely do want to improve on. And so I look at this and say, like, what's my step down approach? What are the things that are going to change in my garden and make it better for me, my homestead, my family, and just in general? So one thing that we've been talking about a lot, well, not a lot, but we're going to start talking about even more, is wild garden. And this section right here is going to be a big part of my 5-year plan. So first thing is, we're moving these beds this fall, winter, something like that. So we're gonna get these out of there. We're just at this point, we're just kind of letting it do its thing. No worries whatsoever about that. We accepted the loss, and that's fine. So what I want to do is I'm going to take these 2 8-by-foot beds and move them over here, and then we've got 2 3-by-6 beds, and we're going to move those over here. And so I don't know the exact layout yet. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to probably unfortunately put them out here and move them around a little bit. I don't know if I want to have the 2 8-by-4 beds in front and then the 6-by-3s, or have them on one side, or what I want to do, but that's going to be like the first step to my 5-year plan. So that'll take us in, well into that. Now, let me be totally honest. I am on this is going into my 3rd year of my 5-year plan. So that's part of it. This wasn't something that we wanted to do, but things evolve and they change. So what we wanted to do originally, we're wanting to fill this area out. We started planting this 2 years ago. Believe it or not, there's a lot of flowers. The drought really took its toll, but we're still working on this little section here. And then last year we added in this. So this section right here was just free seeded. We just started dropping seeds. And I think what I'm going to do this winter, because we've got, these are zinnias. We've got some marigolds. We've got some wildflowers here. We got a whole plethora of stuff. But I think what I'm going to end up doing is putting a load of manure down. I know a farmer down the road is going to give me some, and then I'll just smear it on here and let it sit for the winter, and then come back and then refeed or reseed next year. And I really want this just to be like a wildflower plot. And so going from here all the way into this, and hopefully it can all meet. So this is one section that we're really working on. To remember, 6 years ago, this where I'm standing was all woods. So we're constantly fighting that growth coming back, and we're getting a hang of it. We did work on this one section over here, which is it's very difficult, but it's become a failing point. But this is part of it as well, as this section right here. So we're going to work on this too. As far as this goes, we need to definitely weed it. We've got some marigolds that seeded again, so we'll do that. But we've got this is actually goldenrod. So we're going to leave this here for the bees. We would like to get more of that growing in this area, and it seems to like it here, so we'll be adding that. But this is all to support our vegetable and fruit growth as well. So the more of this you get, the more you get out here, the more pollinators you get, you know, more biodiversity in your land and stuff like this. But then that leaves us to this section here. So I've gone through a few ideas in my mind, and this actually is a little bit bigger than it looks. We've clearly come to know that it's very shady, so we understand that. So once we move these beds out of here, we've got to do something with this area. Got two options that I'm toying around with in my head. The first option, which is I think a very good option, is I'd like to put a honey shack out here. I know that I have a bee channel, and I made the bee channel because a lot of you guys don't really care about watching the bees, which I totally understand. My feelings aren't hurt. But we thought about putting a honey shack out here, which just means like a building of some sort. And so that brings us to today's video sponsor is Steel Buildings and Structures. And the reason why I bring it up is because if I'm looking to build a honey shack, I'm looking specifically into building a barn type. And so I checked out their website, which I'll link below. It's got all these different engineering models, 3D models you can look at, and you can build out and customize as you want. So you can have it as much as you want or as bare bones as you need. I like the interface of the design because if I buy a shed, unless I build it myself, which I'm not gonna do, I don't wanna be stuck with what I got. I wanna have options. So adding doors and windows, this, that, and the other. But in particular, what I was looking at is there's like a 3-piece one. It was like the main barn. There's a door, there's a closed-in room off to the side, and then there's a carport opening on the other side. And that would work out great for my needs. And the metal is gonna last longer than the wood, and that's kind of where I'm going with this. I haven't had any issues with my shed over here, but you never know, you know what I mean? And they're rated for high winds, which I'm always on the lookout for, because anything I put into my garden, I'm always looking out for like hurricane season and stuff like that. You just don't want to take a chance. I'm always down to buy an American-made product, and I'm always down to put something like that. It would add visual interest as well. And I think a nice red barn, classic looking, would look a lot better than a shed, another shed. In the meantime, until I can get the capital built up, I think what we're gonna end up doing, even though the soil in these beds is kind of garbage, I think what we wanna do is we wanna just go ahead and pull the beds out, pull the irrigation out, rake the soil out, we'll cover it for the winter, and then for now, we're just gonna plant the same thing we're doing over there, is we're just gonna plant flowers. So I'll probably put like a load of manure down, and I'll just cover it, let the weeds grow and die once we get these beds out of here, and then just kind of build it out from there. I'm thinking that's what I want to do. If I can get a honey shack in here, especially like the metal building or something, then we'll definitely do that. But if I can't, I would be totally happy with this being another wildflower patch. You've got to understand, for me, this is to support the beehives and supply nectar and pollen in a period of dearth. So we would have to strategically plan that out. And I think that would work out really good. But coming to the main part of my garden, one of the goals with adding all of these extra, well, all of them, the 4 extra beds out here, which would build this out very nicely, I may add. I'm actually really excited about doing it. I'm not excited about the work, but I'm excited about the aftermath, the final product. You know, we planted this cover crop. This buckwheat is just starting to flower. It's just starting to bloom. It's starting to rain now, but you can see, like even right now, there's pollinators on here feeding. Yesterday, they were just loaded down and the flowers are just starting. So I would really like to kind of have this whole section built out nicely so that we could start to do more of this. This I'm a big fan of. Big fan for multiple reasons. One of the reasons is obviously that the pollinators like it. It's actually pleasing to the eye for me. But the other thing too is it's enriching my soil. The problem with the other garden is we always struggled so much that we didn't want to take away any time in the growing season for this. So this is actually making it a lot easier because I'm not totally stressed. I know that this is going to produce and can produce. So when I did the video, which I'll link at the end, about the wild garden, I said that we would be able to up our production enormously. And I still stand by that because this gets way more sun out here, especially when we come over here to this side. So everything on my garden from this side over gets a lot more sun. That means if we're building it out and we're adding beds, we'll be able to plant those a lot more freely, which will allow us, I'm standing in a fire ant hill, which will allow us to use those crops accordingly. You know, we can put another bed of squash in that will actually produce and grow to fruition, and then we can cut it and cover crop it as well, and then just kind of rotate all of these around. You know, basically that would run me up right up to my 5 years from the time I started. Now if I wanted to extend another year, which, you know, I can do that. You know, it's your garden, it's your space, you can do whatever you want. I would like to build some kind of structure over my bonsai bench as well. I'm a big fan of creating rooms within the garden, individual spaces. You know, for instance, if I come over here and there's an actual structure that comes up and over, we have ideas for it, then this would be clearly a space for the trees. We come over here, we could put some kind of structure up, maybe some kind of trellising system in the back to kind of cover the back of this, or even a bush, even some big bushes or something. Then it will definitely make a room that can be, you know, denoted from the rest of the space, kind of like these raised beds do. I mean, when you come over here and you walk into the garden, you are clearly in a garden. There's no doubt in your mind that this space is what it is. When you come over here, it's just kind of like bleh, everywhere. So we really want to work on this and kind of build it out a little bit. I think that we could do it. It's just, like I said, it takes a lot of work. We're going to need to solarize the soil, I think, just to kind of kill the weeds back. Once these bloom, we really need to let these bloom, because this goldenrod is a huge deal for the fall bees. Every little bit counts. So we definitely need that to work and run its course. And I see that we're getting more this year than we did last year, probably about double the amount. So if we do have to solarize the soil, we would have to again come back and seed. Because of the nature of the, you know, the growing season and the way things work, come this fall, we want to put in 2 more fruit trees. I don't know where I want to put them, but we definitely want to put in 2 more fruit trees in our yard to kind of sustain us and give us some more fruit. I'm looking at another peach tree, and I also want to do a plum tree. Those are what we're adding. You know, it gives us a constant. You know, it's something that we can, I don't want to say you depend on it, but you do depend on it. It's kind of weird. Like our peach tree out front, we had 70 peaches on this year. We don't water it at all, and that's the idea behind these. By the time the drought was done and everything, we got like 15 small peaches. So we got to work on that. That was just the drought though. There was just no rain. The tree started looking pretty pitiful. But next year's a new year, and it's still a young tree. So we'll do the same here, and we'll just try and build out going down, and it should work out really well. So that's kind of where we stand in our 5-year plan. What are some big changes in your garden for your 5-year plan? What are you trying to do in your garden to make a difference and to make it grow? You know, the first year we added, what did we add the first year? We added the cattle panels, and then the bed in the back, and the greenhouse. So we really jumped up and ran with it. And I did some other stuff around my porch and stuff like that. But, you know, coming into it, I think that this was a really good start into our 5-year plan. And I hope that you can make a good decision to do something that you're really going to like in your garden come in the future. Because if you don't plant it now, then it's just going to be a struggle. So always keep your mind open and keep looking for it.